Hello, today we're going to learn how to make this reversible pendant using seed glass, some seed beads and wire. In this wire wrapping tutorial, you will learn some new wire wrapping techniques. So if you like this, please keep watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. So here we go. Okay, so these are some pieces that I have up on my blog. Those are some prong set pendants and this lovely bezel ring and this lovely pendant. So if you want to go there, click the link down below. Here are some pieces that I have exclusively for people who subscribe to my blog. You can learn that again by clicking below and going to the subscribers only page or signing up on the prompt on the side. Here are some pieces that I plan to teach in a course soon. So if you're interested in these, it's a prong set ring, then keep alert and subscribe when I announce on my blog again, and you can have access to these. Thank you. So first you're gonna need two lengths of wire. One should be 15 centimeters or 6 inches long, and the second should be 10 centimeters or 4 inches long. Put the 15 centimeter wire at the bottom, the longer wire, and the shorter one at the top. Take your 0.4 millimeter or 24 gauge wire, weaving wire, and place it in between the two wires. Now make a loop around the bottom wire and the 15 centimeter wire. Go from under there and make a loop around the top wire as shown above. Push everything in and make a loop over both. Now again, come in between, make a loop around the bottom wire, go under both and go make a loop around the top wire, and then make a full loop over from above around both of them after pushing the top wire in. So now go in between after that loop. Go in between, a loop around the bottom. This is just me checking. Go in between, loop around the bottom, go under both, and in between a loop around the top, go under the top and go over both. Go in under the bottom, go and make a loop, go over the under both, make a loop on the top, go over both, and come in between the middle to make a loop around the bottom again. When you're done, your stitch should have 2 coils and then a full coil. 2 coils in the same line and then a full one just on top. So again, just for emphasis, make a loop around. You see, it should be the same on both sides. Make a loop around. Okay, here from the bottom coming from the top, make a loop around the top wire coming from under both of them, and then make a loop around both of them and go into the middle. This weave can be kind of confusing. That is why I repeated it quite a few times, and I'm going to repeat it once more. From this over them from the top. Now start from and then make a loop, go in between the two wires, make a loop around the bottom, go under both, make a loop around the top, and then go push it down as needed so that it's laying right next to the two coils are laying right next to each other, and then coming over, make a loop around both and then go in between before you finish a full loop. I hope you get it. Now I'm going to leave it playing at normal speed just so you can see what I'm doing. Here I am just zooming in again. This is better for you, you can see better. Make a loop around both at the top. Make a loop, go in between, make one loop around the bottom. Go under both of them, make a loop around the top. Push in the top wire because you'll always stay above, and then make one, use your pliers please, and make one loop around both. use your pliers. You might hurt yourself if you try to use your nails, and please excuse my nail polish. So now I'm going to finish off this weave, then we'll start working with the stone. As you can see, before I started, I bent the weave to kind of see where the stone goes. You may do that too if you want to, but I wouldn't suggest it because it makes it a teensy bit more difficult to weave. So if you decide to do this, just keep them straight and start 5 centimeters or 2 inches in from the 15 millimeter wire and about 1 inch in from the 10 centimeter wire. You may make these wires a little bit longer if you're afraid that you won't have enough tails. I always go with, if you're beginning with wire wrapping, just make your base wires a little bit longer because you need a little bit of more wiggle room. So there goes the weave again, over both, over in between and over the bottom, under both and over the top and over both again. So here it is, and okay, so we move on to the next step. So now we're gonna grab our ring mandrel. You may use a ring mandrel or any round objects that's about the same diameter as your stone, and just kind of make a gentle curve, just turning it into a circle shape using the mandrel, taking the stone to further cement the shape. Remember, the stone will sit just above this, it will sit just in the middle and a little bit above the shape. You may choose to put it on the shape or just keep it off, but just use your mandrel or dowel, I guess, if you have one, just to keep the shape symmetrical and make sure that it doesn't bend out of shape. Next, you're going to kind of work it around the stone until you're happy. Then we're going to take the wire, the tails of the shorter wire, which is a 10 centimeter slash 4 inch wire, and bend it over the top of the stone. Here I'm just undoing some coils that were there to just hold the wire in place, but now I'm taking back, and you just put the stone in the middle and bend them over the top. This is to secure the stone from the top, and just shape them like as I am doing right now. I'm gonna try to get them to go in a symmetrical shape, whichever one fits, and they're gonna go down just like this, and just bend them over, shape them over the wire so that they kind of cup the wire, and go as long as you want to. Here I'm just trying to figure out a shape that I like best, but just keep on doing that. Use your pliers if you need to. Oh, here we're gonna take our pliers and we're gonna start the finishing steps of the pendant. So now we're gonna take our chain nose pliers and make a bend at the end where the tails meet the weave part, and this will just be to secure the pendant and just bring in some shape to that life. You may make a V shape. This is where those of you with longer wire will actually benefit. If you have a wire that's long enough, make a V shape. And about the length of the wire, please keep the size of your stone in mind when choosing that. Mine is about just under an inch in diameter, so I chose wire lengths based off that. Now here I'm just placing the stone, just checking to see everything's laying correctly, kind of bending those up in a way they're making it hard for the stone to touch the ground, and I'm clipping the excess off so that they can be as symmetrical as possible. Get rid of that in a safe place, please. Do not leave it lying around. It might hurt you later on. And here I am. Now I'm just kind of tightening the tails of the wire. I'm gonna try to actually straighten it out right now because they're a bit too far apart for my comfort right now. So I'm gonna just try to fix that. So here I am bringing the two wires closer together before I start finalizing my weave. I'm gonna just try to straighten them out, and here as you can see they fit the stone now. I've secured the shape of the stone. Now all I have to do is start weaving my bail. I'm just gonna use this excess wire to kind of coil around a few times just to make sure that it's they on there snugly. The weave won't unravel, although it never does. When you're done with this, just cut off the excess. I've been weaving directly from the spool, so I haven't been cutting off a specific amount of wire. Take your chain nose pliers and just finish the coil as much as you can, and bend it over the ends of the wire a few times, and when you run your hands over it, you shouldn't be able to feel any sharp points. This is very important. You don't want it snagging or hurting you in the future, so you're kind of using the tip of your chain nose plier to flatten it out, and so that it fits directly snugly against the second wire and it doesn't move. Here I'm straightening out my bail wires, turning it into a V shape, and now I am using that excess space to straighten it out as much as I can. And now I'm just placing it the way I want it. Place them parallel to each other. When I begin my weave, my bail will be a straight bail. It won't flare out. So here I'm beginning my weave. First, make 2 coils around one of the wires, then coming in from in between that, go under and make a second coil around the one on the other side. So I'm just securing this now, and I'm gonna start the weave same as I did to the base. So the first was just securing it. Again, here's the weave. Again, here I'm just making sure they're laying parallel straight as they can. From under this, go under both wires at the bottom, go on top, go make a loop around the top wire, push it in. We're using your pliers, please don't use your nails, I'm just used to the pain. And then make one full loop, one wrap, not a full wrap, a wrap around the both. Go in the middle from behind, go in between the two from behind, and make one loop around the bottom. Go over both from behind, make one loop around the top, push that top coil in so that it's sitting right next to the bottom, and then make one wrap around both at the top, and from the bottom go over the bottom one, and just continue this weave until you're happy with the length of your bail. Remember, you will be folding this bail in half, so you could choose to wrap until you're okay with the length at the top and not do the back, or just do double that so that when you fold it over, your bail is uniform on all sides. Okay, so now I'm finished. I'm happy with the size of my bail. Remember, you could go a little bit longer if you want to, but remember to add some wire for that, so take longer than a 6-inch length of wire. Now I'm just trying to bend my bail. As you can see, some of the wire moved. I have to move it back. Just make a gentle bend slowly to prevent this, and try to bend it over slowly. Bend it over so that it kind of sits at the back of the stone. And now I'm just putting my stone inside. Remember, the stone sits just on top of the frame. In this case, you could make it sit under if you're sure of your ability to get it to not move once you're done with these parts, but for this particular weave I wouldn't suggest that. So now we're going to just take the stone out. You don't have to. Okay, now we're going to start with the other part of the weave, which is to add in the seed beads. So you're going to go get your seed beads. In this weave I'm going to use AB colored because I just like that effect with the stone. You could also use gold because gold goes well with blue, but because I'm using the silver wire, I kind of don't want it to take away from the rest of the piece. You could do it if you want to be colorful. So we're gonna just start by stringing on a lot of seed beads, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot, because my wire is still attached to the spool. It's especially important for this part because you don't know how much wire you're going to need. I'm going to have to string enough seed beads to finish the weave, because we will be kind of using them to fill in a shape at the back, so you need to keep that in mind. So just continue stringing a lot of seed beads. Okay, so now that we're done stringing, you're gonna take the wire. Here you can see my length of seed beads. I'm not gonna use them all, but I'd rather have too many than too little. Now here I began wiring, and I took it so that when I'm looping it goes down. You can do this, or you could do it another way. Remember, you're gonna have to come up the whole way. So here I'm just adjusting it, trying to bring it over to the other side, but you'll see that the side that I initially chose could have been well, but just place it the way you want. You'll see what I mean right now. And kind of loop it through, make a few initial loops just to secure it on both wires, on both ends if you want to, or on just one. So here I am just adjusting it slightly. So we're gonna need the wire to come from the top for this part. Bring in one seed bead, or as many as you need, that will fit the length of this wire. And this is, you're gonna start pushing it up. Here I have the one fits. I tried 2, but 2 is too big, and make 3 to 2 loops. This depends, how many loops you make will depend on the size of your seed beads. I'm making 2 here, but later on you'll see I'll switch to 3. Now push some more seed beads down, and here I have 3. Just test out the shape, and then from above fit it into the wire. As you can see, I'm coming in from above, it fits, I'm pushing it down, and then I'm looping 3 times. Push it in so that they lay right next to each other. Then I'm going to go to the other side from below and come up from above, push seed beads down, and I'm going to put in the amount that I need to fit. Push them down. Here we go, and 2 fit in here, so I'm going to put in 2. I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to start looping 3 times. Make 3 loops. These are size 11/0 seed beads, the equivalent of size 11/0. These are just seed beads that are different sizes, but if they had an equivalent, they'd be 11/0. So push them down. Make sure your wire is free. Push it down, and then coming from above there, put the seed beads in where they fit. Here 2 fit, so I'm gonna coil around 2 times. Okay, I'm gonna push these back because they fell off. Make sure they sit snugly so that they don't move when you're coiling. Okay, so we're just gonna carry on that process until we get to the bottom. Okay, so we're near the bottom now. We're just gonna add in a few rows. Again, add in as many beads as they fit across. While you're doing this, please make sure that you don't push your wire in. As you can see, my hand is resting there, and that's kind of a bad thing because pushing the wire in and making it narrower, which doesn't fit with the shape. As you can see on the top there, they kind of too long, so make sure to watch out for that. Just make sure you keep the wire steady and in the same place. So this, I think, is one of my last few rows, and when we get to the end, then we'll see what happens. Just fit them in. Sometimes they won't fit as perfectly because these seed beads are not uniform, and we didn't really measure before we started, which we couldn't really, but here we are. This is, and I'm done, I think. Yeah, I'm done. This is the last row. Fits directly at the end. So we're gonna now take our wire cutters and cut it off, leaving a 2-inch long tail. And there we go. So now we're gonna begin. Here I'm just adding on some extra wire just in case I wasn't sure about how I was going to secure the stone. It's always good to have weaving wire weaved in, but you'll see later on that actually wasn't necessary. So we're going to put the stone back in. Now we'll begin fitting it in and doing the final touches and securing it for the last time. So I'm gonna grab my round nose pliers. As you saw before, we kind of cut it down to be the same. Sorry about the angle, I didn't realize how low it was. And you're just gonna make a loop at the bottom of one of the wires. This loop will keep it in place. And then you're gonna make the same loop. Make sure cut it down because it's still a little bit longer than the other side. So now I'm cutting it down to size, and I'm gonna make a second loop. I'm bending inwards. And this is gonna help kind of secure the stone in place for one side. Push it in as you need to. And now we're going to take the bottom wires. So here I'm just adjusting the stone because I do not want it to move when this is done. I want it to be completely secured, and you can fix any shapes and sizes that you want. You could make them bigger or smaller, adjust your loops. Go to the back, and we're gonna take it and resize it. Again, you don't have to do this cord here. You could have taken it out. I just thought that I was gonna need it, but you actually do not need it. Okay, cut it down so that's the same size as the other side. Always be symmetrical if you can. And yes, of course, you're making an asymmetrical piece. Then I'm gonna push it to the top, and it again is gonna act as a kind of prong to secure the stone in. So once you've done that, you're gonna take your round nose pliers again and adjust it as you need. I think I'm just trying to straighten out the wire here. And adjusting the stone, you're gonna take your round nose pliers and make a second loop, this time facing the other way. So this loop will also help secure the stone. And do that on both sides. As you can see, I'm just trying to grab and fix. It should lay right under the third loop. Again, opposite from the first loop on the other side, and make it facing inwards this time. It's kind of difficult to grab with the ends of the round nose pliers because it keeps on slipping out, but just secure your loop, and then you're gonna fix it as you need it. Make it symmetrical. Move some up, move that a little bit down, as you can see. Then I'm going to push my stone so that it fits. And if your stone is still loose from the top, you can take your chain nose pliers and kind of pinch the two sides of the bail together. That will help secure it. As you can see, this is what it looks like from the top. Adjust if you need to. And now we have to get rid of these wires. I'm trying to pull it out. There we go. But we have to cut this one off. I also experimented with using it to attach the two loops together, but as you can see, you'll see later, it wasn't needed. Quite secure and in place, and it would have only made them look weird, so I'm cutting it off. Take your chain nose pliers and push it down till you can't feel it anymore. Remember to always do this. Okay, there I go again, trying a different method. It still won't work, but yeah, we don't need this step. Okay, so now we're going to start cutting off all the excess wires and parts. We're gonna use our chain nose pliers to push them down again. Our pendant is quite done now, so cut off all the excess wires one by one. Remember where they were so that you can remember to come use your chain nose pliers to push them down. Remember, nothing should come out or jut out. It might hurt you, might ruin your clothes, and it will look quite bad. It won't look professional. Always use your chain nose pliers to tighten up loose weaves. Use your hands to make sure that the feel is okay. And there's our pendant. Please subscribe and comment and like. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Here it is.